Hi, I'm Jason Moore from MakingStarWars.net, and today I got Two-Ear Jesse down below, downstairs.
Hola.
And Rob, my sketchy friend, sketchcraft guy.
Just sitting in Star Wars. I'm in Star Wars today.
You're in. I think you're on Kashyyyk. I think that's
there's some Star Wars. There's some Star Wars. There's some Star Wars. Star Wars everywhere.
Star Wars all around your head is Star Wars.
And a few we'll have, as it's true, Star Wars video game YouTuber that I enjoy on the show. And my kid loves the guy's videos, and is for the first time is going to think like it's cool. Like, oh, that's cool. You hung out with As It's True. That's cool. That's what he's going to say. other than that, like, you know, I'll take him to meet Grand Moff Tarkin or something, and he'll be like, "Oh, I don't care about what's this old guy." But
for me, it's got to be Mr. Beast. If I manage to talk to anybody, that's the only person that's going to be like, "Mr. Beast, you got Mr. Beast."
If I ever meet Mr. Beast, I'm gonna ask him if I can borrow like $10 because I think he has it. In fact, I know he has it. When you know they have it, that's when you ask, "Hey, you got $10?"
Right?
No, it's cool. You can Venmo me. I don't care. That's cool. But yeah, today we're gonna talk a little bit about that old old video game. But I'm gonna wait until As the Truth shows up because it just makes sense.
Well, I left my pity pants at home. Jason doesn't think I watch the 2-hour streams when I'm not on, but I do.
Oh yeah. No,
I
knew you were.
Streams.
No, that's why I called you out
all the way to the end.
Chat, folks.
Because
ASMR. What am I supposed to do? Get all mad about the Star Cruiser while I'm drawing for 8 hours? Jeez.
Wow. Yeah.
But when you try to do it while you're like drawing, if you try to go how you go on this show while you're drawing, it'd be like who drew this? Michael J. Fox? That's what they say.
I'm just gonna do ASMR George. I'll just be like, well, you know, I'm just gonna add a little perspective here. By hook or by crook, we're gonna get this composition done.
I think the only time I ever enjoyed ASMR is when I saw like a girl eat a banana one time. I was like, all right.
It's the worst with cooking, bro. Because if you want to get some cooking tips, they all feel the need to put the fucking camera right in the just fully the shit out of fucking everything.
I don't. So I swear I'm not a maniac, and I didn't kill Rob because he's here. So we know that. We know I didn't kill Rob. Remember yesterday? People thought maybe I killed you, and I didn't kill you.
He's on the astral plane.
Fading out. I think I fade out. Like, look, it's like it won't happen. Wow, the one time it won't fucking.
Now we can't see him.
The sound effect from breakfast commercials where they pour a glass of juice. Yeah, it drives me like
Jesse.
Yes, it makes me want to destroy shit. Like I want to hit my hands on the table.
You know when they 60 FPS anime scenes that were on twos? Yeah, that's what it's like for me. It's like, stop! What are you doing? Things don't sound like that, but they sound even better. They don't.
Yeah, so I don't understand the ASMR like craze whatsoever, but it's not for me, so that's fine.
Quick notes on last night's show. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch. I got some quick thoughts before I forget.
Yeah,
James is great. James is also funny because on one hand, he complained when 3PO might be in the game trailer. Mm-hmm. No, they're just rehashing stuff. They never got anything new. And then also pitched you on his Sifo Dyas Young Qui-Gon Jinn movie trilogy series, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. We are complex with many needs. We have many needs.
It's just an observation. I'm not judging. I'm just
no, I'm not judging.
We all have different love languages, Rob. Okay?
I speak the international language of love.
Like I need a little bit of prequel and a little bit of new, or my needs aren't met. and I understand where he's coming from.
Also, with James, he'll always go back. Man, I was hanging out with Ralph McQuarrie for 12 hours, and he'll tell you what they didn't talk about, and then never continue that story.
Off camera.
Yeah,
he was like, yeah. Afterwards, we were like mainlining black tar heroin, and we were talking about
like in the trailer.
Dali. Yeah, like in Salvador. Yeah, it was crazy. It was
covered
crazy.
in it.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean,
I'm like, tell me one of the stories, James.
I said, don't say it on the show. He's all, don't say it on the show. But me and Ralph McQuarrie, we did black tar heroin, and we made ice sculptures.
And all these wonderful conversations. But you know what we didn't talk about? Like, what? This, and then that's it. Like, but what did you two talk about? Tell me what you talked about.
My feelings as an interviewer. I was just like, yeah, okay.
Were you rating costumes as they walk by, and he's like, the fucking design on that's horrible. You know, just whatever. Like, I just want to know.
I like to. Hey, it's a puppy dog. How's it going, puppy dog?
Cute.
It's a Chewbacca.
Oh, it's
a real life Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
Yeah. Oh, did you guys ever see that old skit when Dana Carvey was on SNL named Massive Head Wound Harry? And he was just a guy with a massive head wound. There's this point where there's like a dog, and the dog starts to eat the makeup off of his brain, and he's all, he must smell my dog. It's great. Yeah, I miss when it was a bit funnier on that show. Anyways, yeah. So
Stinky Lucas.
And I love how I also love how all three of you are trying to figure out how concept art was made. That was fun.
I don't remember. I'm like, this show's like jazz to me. Like, you're like, hey, remember that middle eight you play? I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I have detailed files, Jason.
Yeah.
Detailed.
I have detailed files. I don't remember anything I say either, but I remember what I hear.
Right. Yeah. On like a side note, yesterday, someone, I can't remember the guy's name now. The guy who from Quantic Dream,
David Cage.
David Cage.
That's why you're like, I wonder if a guy's going to be behind all this. I'm like, David Cage. I'm cleaning my kitchen. David Cage.
Yeah, everybody hates David Cage.
Yeah,
he's like, all the women in my games are whores, and everybody's like, whoa! Did you know about that?
Yeah.
And he's like, I do not make games for the F word, and not the F word, the other F word. And it's like, whoa, buddy, calm down, Frenchie.
Well, what's funny is the people who love Kathleen Kennedy will hate David Cage, and the people who hate Kathleen Kennedy will love David Cage. So, you know,
meeting of the mind. I was kind of curious. What was that, Jesse?
I don't know much about the David guy, so I can't.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about him until today.
Gen Xer. I take no stance. Don't even care.
I take no stance. You know what? We're all gonna die anyway.
I've never even heard of this Nirvana. What is it?
Nirvana.
You and your sound gardens.
All right.
But yeah. So I was like trying to like look into. I was like curious. I'm like,
and chains.
Well, you know, because like I was like, why would Lucasfilm, Disney, like go with a dude with like that amount of like heat on him about shit that he said? And I was like, maybe the stuff like isn't accurate, or maybe isn't true. I dug into it, wasn't able to like find it, but there is this one moment where I guess they're like they're on trial. It might be like I think it's like a deposition, and one of the guys at the company goes like, I'm not under oath, so I could lie, right? And like they're like throwing that into the mix of stuff, and I'm like, I think that's clearly a joke. Somebody wouldn't seriously say that in court. Like, you would have to be fucking insane, I would think. Maybe they're fucking insane. I mean, I don't know. He's like, I am an artist. I make this video game, you know, and it just goes crazy. I have no idea, but
you sound like Chris Pratt pretending to be Mario.
Thank you. And I'm going to tell you this. If I'm right, Quantic Dream doesn't make games for thespians. How
is thespian not a race in Star Wars, by the way? Like, it's such a George thing to do, right?
Yeah.
The thespians.
Thespiana. Yeah. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, yeah, I find that whole thing interesting, and I'm just curious as to
Basically, as
how
a
they come.
gamer, it comes down to this: they believe he makes a modern version of the point and click adventure with no puzzles and choices that don't affect the outcome of the game.
Mhm.
So if you were like, hey, my favorite part of the Knights of the Republic is how you make a choice and it affects the outcome of the game, in theory, this is the opposite. This is why I made a lot of choices, didn't matter.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if that's the case here. This could be the one time the dude pulls out something different from his hat, right? He's like, hey, well, I actually have a light in the dark. Hey, the eclipse, you'll go, or you'll go whatever way. But we're like 7 games deep into his library, and I'm like, where's the choice? I was really into Hard Rain when it came on the PS3. I was like, all right, this is your kid's murdered. You're gonna have to be, like you're the parent, and you have to find the murder. I'm all for this. Like, I like point and click adventures, LucasArts, Maniac Mansion. As much as I love Mario and shit, Maniac Mansion was the time the games changed my life. I was like a game where you don't fight, you make choices, and you have to figure shit out, and you could break the game, and like I love it. But they have tend to be like more elaborate versions of Dragon's Lair. So not bad. Love the visual stylings of Dragon's Lair, but like I'm hoping if it is just a long movie, then hey, you're gonna get a 20-hour long CGI, animated Star Wars film, and it looks better than the DC animated films. I mean, by all things considered, yeah, I don't like those films. So. I had cheap ass animation. I'd go back to the Bruce Timm style if we're gonna do limited. I don't like Long Halloween that don't look like Tim Sale's art. I don't do it. I don't do it.
I enjoy them for what they are, but I mean, obviously I could be critical and see the room for improvement, but I enjoy them for what they are.
Yeah. I'm sure as what's his name? Azur.
As it true.
I want to make sure I get it right.
My 8-year-old believes it's called Is It True? It's As It True.
Okay, all right, perfect.
The one I don't like that my kid watches is that the Marvel, the Young Iron Man Adventures or whatever it is. It's like they took every character from like the Avengers movies, and they're all teenagers now apparently, and they all hung out together, and even
that depends on the writing, Jesse, because someone did.
Tony has Extremis too. He's like a teenager, and they gave him the Extremis stuff in his body.
Then he turns into a car when he gets horny. They made a cartoon about that
red
one.
shit that was in Iron Man 3.
Right.
Wait a minute. I can relate to that because when I get horny, I'm a fuck truck. Oh, sorry.
The 80s were kind to you.
I didn't know that he was friends with Pepper when they were teenagers. Like, I didn't know that.
It's alternate universe, bro. There was a pilot that was made for a Gotham High show that was pretty fun. I like those out of continuity things, but I just like that the animation, I don't know, man. Like it's all the same, the LA stuff. Like it's just really like generically all the same, and everyone's a reboot, and it's just add more motion blur and Batman, and more people are gonna bleed now. Like I want like how do I say this? Like
you want your
when
visceral?
you see what even the New Adventures of Batman was doing, where like you just have like somber stories. They don't have that. It's just here's all the characters, and guess what? Someone's gonna say the F word. Like I can't. It's like all right, and we're gonna adapt this book you love, and not like Batman Year One. It's gonna look nothing like Mazzucchelli's artwork, but the credits will. There's not even any shadows in Batman Year One. No blacks, because that would be too dark for kids. When they say dark, they mean the palette would be too dark. They don't like shadows. So like, it's frustrating. I'm like, I'd rather a motion comic. I don't know. Get your own continuity and adapt the storylines into it if that's the case. But don't tell me it's an adaptation of Batman Year One and it not look like Mazzucchelli's artwork in any way, or even have shadows or painted back. I don't know. It's weird. It's odd.
Yeah. Well, there
we go.
That's
pissy
it.
pants. Was it potty pants?
Batman,
pissy pants. What was it?
I probably said pissy pants.
Pissy pants.
Okay, well,
Pity pants.
You know what? Yeah, because this pertains to you, and we don't need As a True to chime in on you. Did you feel like, having seen the High Republic in this light, in this way, do you feel like it was elevated? Do you feel like the premise deserves to exist more than it did yesterday or day before?
Look, my take is this is what the prequels would look like if James Cameron had made them.
Okay.
Like I know all you people are like, it looks like Doom, but I'm like, look at the dragons. Like they're good, they're in there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, but no, like I'm being dead serious. I think it's if they're going to take the prequel. I feel like, you know how you said the Knights of the Old Republic was their way of taking the OT and giving you like a prequel story with it. This is like taking the visuals of the PT, but giving you an OT story with it. You know, like it feels what I thought the sequel trilogy would look like a more fantasy version, an amalgamation of both things into one. So the visual stylings of it are cool. I mean, like, man, there's dragons everywhere in this thing too, right? Like there's dragons up here.
Dragons up there.
There's a dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a dragon on your head.
Yeah. They're awesome. I love the dragons.
No,
there's dragons in the sword fights too, dude. I love it. So you know, like,
is one of them gonna be like, fight?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So I think that was really cool, man. Like visually, this is not. Look, my complaints about the High Republic are that when you're looking at the artwork, they draw like a Greek temple floating in the air. Like it literally is the Parthenon or the Pantheon or whatever that is. Just like it's like that isn't Star Wars. It just looks like Wonder Woman cosplay. Like
they did it a very large disservice when you look at the things that were released as, oh, this is just concept art, but here's what the character looks like, and then you get to you see this. And you're like, you shouldn't have been giving us that stuff. You should have been giving us concept art from this and saying this is what this shit looks like.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and I you know, maybe it's not fair, but when you have like pretty much permanent art departments who are constantly doing beautiful work that never gets to be seen, maybe toss us some of those out and cater them towards that marketing.
It would be cool. They couldn't have done it at the Game Awards show because of obviously time. But it would be cool if the trailer that went up online was what we saw, and then like a 3-minute featurette talking to David Cage and the group, just so you get your head around which we're obviously going to get at some point. I don't think Celebration's next year, right? They still doing that?
I think they're going to keep David Cage on the down low. To be honest with you,
he can read scripts.
I mean, the Star Wars fan base is fucking insane now.
You're right.
Like, don't get me wrong.
My bad.
I think what he said was stupid and terrible, and maybe it's out of context. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to be like. Right. I don't know. Is there more context to this stuff? You know,
the context is that it's early in development, was what they said. That's the only context. I'm talking
about him saying I make games with whores in it only. All women are whores in my games, and I don't make games. For
that you can control them and use them. I know it's a very Westworld, dude. The guys. I found it funny when I was like, a lot of French developers went in last night, but I can assure you, they're. If you're looking for more monogamous relationships, France is not where to go. I had a fantastic time when I was 19. And I can assure you, it's a little bourgeoisie. You know what I mean? Bohemian.
I'm a fan of whores in general. Most of my friends are whores. I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? But. No comment. At the same time, like I said, I don't know if it was a very
he's a dick, dude. Like
is he an asshole?
A little bit of a dick. But so I don't like that's look, it's 10 years of this dude who could just not say some stupid shit.
Yeah.
He can't help himself. So like it's like, all right, I'd like to talk about the game. So like Kathy and them are cool with him. Yeah. Kathy and them. No, I like John. I thought Johnny came on last night. Everything was great.
Yeah, John. I saw him play the guitar, and boy, I pick up a guitar. That guy plays it. I'll tell you that much. He could like we could just have him to the side, and we could be like in the 80s when people did air guitar and the sound just played. He sounds like that guy who did the
No, the conversation was great. I was just like. ASMR. What am I supposed to? I got your little dog and pony now. I got
As a True is here. True, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey, what's
How
up?
are you?
Good to speak to you.
Yeah, nice to have you on. I don't know if you could hear before the show. I was telling the guys, my 8-year-old son is a huge fan of your channel.
Really?
Yeah, so
wow.
This will be the episode where I let him watch part of it, not all of it, because I've said some terrible things
That's
already.
awesome.
But
ex-wife, blah blah blah. Like, oh no, Jason, don't.
Your mother was simply a vessel. I picked her for her very specific genetics. No.
So Star Warsy. George is like, tell me more. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, yesterday we had a really big day in that Star Wars Eclipse trailer accidentally launched early, and then was the Video Game Awards yesterday? Was that?
Yes, it was last night.
It was last night. Yeah.
So I believe Lucasfilm Games on Facebook posted it, but it was only like about maybe an hour too early, and then the trailer went live. So it was always supposed to be there. It was teased by some insiders for a few weeks ago. So
right. Yeah. So I know you have primarily or over the years been doing like Battlefront
yeah,
Battlefront's
like been my thing. Like I've been in the Battlefront community since like it began. But I've always covered like other Star Wars games, but there hasn't been obviously that many. But now Battlefront, I mean, the Battlefront community is weird because there is a large portion of them that don't want any other Star Wars game. They only want Battlefront. Like you can. Like this trailer, I made a video about it today. It's one of my worst performing videos, below all my Battlefront recent videos. And Battlefront's been done for 2 years now, but they're like, it's got to be Battlefront. It can't be anything else.
Yeah,
it's really strange. It's like
EA.
Yeah, these guys don't care who it's made by. They just want Battlefront. So
yeah. That's the old YouTube thing. Once you have that YouTube audience in any way, they're like they want what they come for. Yeah, and if you do anything outside of it, they get very. I mean, I don't have anything like you, but it's like I've seen it. You do one thing outside of what people come for, and they're like, "What? I didn't order this."
You'd think it would also be pretty close. It's a Star Wars game. People want Star Wars games, but no, it's got to be Battlefront. I mean, Lego Star Wars is doing pretty well. There's a lot of excitement around that, so that's good. Yeah. But it's taking so long to come out, and so it's been 2 years since we first heard about it, and it's probably going to be another 6 months away.
Yeah, I mean, Bespin Bulletin was saying that it. I believe he said like this game is like 3 to 4 years off still.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. It's got 3 years. I could look at it. I'm doing the math. I know Detroit Become Two Humans 2018. He probably didn't sign a licensing deal until the 2020, maybe at the worst middle, 2 to 3 years.
It's been in development for about a year and a half. I want to say somewhere like around there.
So another insider called Tom Henderson, who's been pretty legit regarding Battlefield and plenty of other games recently, really good track record. He basically said before Bespin, or maybe a little bit just after, he basically said it's 3 to 4 years away minimum. And he did say it's been 18 months. Like apparently Bespin seems to think it's a different source as well. So there's a few other people that have got different sources and they're all sort of saying the same thing. So I'd definitely put some, say that it seems like it's legit. It's 3 to 4 years away probably.
If it's 4, that's only because they're targeting next gen systems and they're trying to get consoles into people's hands. It's not because of the complexity of the game or the gameplay. It's not a reflection of the gameplay length or anything. We want to target next gen systems and ignore current gen. So we need another 3 to 4 years to do that.
Although apparently,
I need it. To get a PlayStation or an Xbox, the next Xbox, I need 3 to 4 years because at this rate, it's not happening. Not this Christmas.
Well,
so according to Tom Henderson, sorry, go on. There's a bit of delay.
Yeah, I saw this and I was like, "Am I missing something here?" Did Eclipse? I was like, "They're making a game out of that chick who flew around Starkiller."
No, it's a gum. It's a gum. Yeah. Did you? Did you see this tweet from December 2nd? Yeah,
I was going to bring some of these tweets, like this guy has been pretty spot on. Like he posted a picture from the actual trailer like over a week ago, which is no one picked it up. Crazy. So this guy's obviously got some information. But what I was going to say was Tom Henderson says that they are having development issues with the game. He says that's one of the reasons why. He says Paris is currently struggling to hire staff, and it's because the engine, the internal tools and stuff like that aren't. They want to make it an open world game, and they aren't prepared for it. So that's one of the reasons why it's.
That's gone well in the past for Star Wars games.
As long as it doesn't have that frostbite engine error where when I minimize the Xbox and come back and everything's all fast motion and weird.
Jason, you're being rude. It's frostbite. All right.
Frostbite.
Frostbite.
Yeah. So this ACC NGT account on Twitter who had said traditional action gameplay. So I'm dumb. I don't know what that means. Does that mean it's like hack and slash?
So he did follow up and say it's gonna be. I guess this is just based off what his source is telling him, but he said it's somewhat close to Fallen Order. Is that it's not like standard Quantic Dreams games? It's gonna be more like Fallen Order style. So
because people want to beat the shit out of things.
Fallen Order, but with Assassin's Creed style open world things. What it is? Possibly.
He says there's like multiple planets, obviously, that are going to be open world. It seems like they are going pretty all out, but it's going to mostly be narrative driven.
Okay. Because one of the things that was going around was that it was going to have multiple. You would play as multiple characters.
Mm-hmm. It says on the website there's the most characters like of any Quantic Dream game. I don't know. I've never played any of those games, so I don't know how many characters there is. But it seems like there's actually going to be quite a few ones you're going to be able to play, and all the stories interconnect. Apparently, that's what it says on the website. And then each of those characters build up to like a big, the main story.
Yeah, I think I think Ragtag was going to kind of go that way too. Because when I was looking at stuff for the canceled open world game Ragtag, they had multiple characters and some of the story elements. The main character Dodger in that one, he couldn't have possibly have known those. And how would you know unless you were not playing as the other characters? And so I'm excited because I like that concept because I think that allows them to keep building on that if they decide that they want to continue the story and things like that. But yeah, so then playtesting is in progress, about to start, and that does. And I'm not throwing any shade at this person. They clearly have legit shit. This is why I'm pulling it up on the screen. But I don't really know how that works. Like, how do you get into playtesting? Like, don't you have to have like something like kind of like far along for that?
From my understanding is that you can get something playable quickly once you've got prototypes and stuff like that, but I guess this is really early. Like, some people also get their wires crossed with things. Like, some sources seem to think it's going to be something, and it doesn't end up being like that because I've seen stuff with other Star Wars related stuff. So,
right. Bestman Bulletin just chimed in and said, catching up. I posted about 2024 at earliest for Eclipse, almost 4 hours ahead of Henderson and their separate sources. And goes on to say, Knights of the Old Republic remake will be released before it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's because they're remaking a game.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can
exciting.
tell you, having helped ship a couple of games, early in development, you have box model levels. So levels that really just look like construction boxes. And you do it, especially now, if you have multiplayer, it's generally to get the multiplayer gameplay down. My guess is because it's a narrative driven game, getting people to replay narrative driven games is a real pain. If you ever want to see this, Double Fine did a thing called the Double Fine Adventure when they were making a Broken Age, when they were making Broken Age, which is a story-driven game, and watching Tim have people play through it. They can't play through it multiple times. People go nuts. I don't think that's why they'd be playing it now. If it's open world, they need to figure out what people are inclined to do. so that they can design around it. If it's not a heavy, if it isn't, if they're like if they're whacking on NPCs with the saber, can we give them something to do? I'm a little let me finish my sentence. Can we give them something to do beyond just talking to people? Because what I can see design wise, if there's complications, it's not the tech. The tech is one problem. If they're using a custom engine, which they probably are. The other thing would just be, what is it? It's a narrative driven open world action game. Think about what you just said. So you're saying it's Uncharted without any shooting or grappling hooks until there's specific events to do. So I guess you would actually swing the saber yourself. It wouldn't be a quick time event. Okay, does that mean we have access to the saber anytime? And if we don't, how do we explain, no, I can't pull the saber out when I'm here? Or if you can pull the saber out, does that mean I'm going to just whack things and nothing happens with them? Will people get, are there endless videos going to be people just pulling their saber out, whacking on shit? Like, you see what I mean? Like, this is where you get people, internally, you have QA play the game so you can start to see what people do that you can't design for, because you can say I want the game to be this, but when you start playing a game, people will do other things. That's the thing.
Yeah, Bespin just said apparently the engine wasn't built with open world ever in mind, which is I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's a story driven. It's a point and click adventure engine. You know, it's very. It's like Shenmue. Shenmue is probably the closest I'm bringing up an older game, but Shenmue was
that is the well from SeaWorld, right?
Yes, and where you piss in a pool for 20 years until you die. You know, that's the game. So I just is that surly enough for you, Marty? So
I thought Willie was free.
Yeah, look, games are hard to make. You know, unless you're cloning something or remaking something, then they get less hard. They're still hard. Everything you do in a game is a separate engine that all has to sync up at once and appear to be seamless. And no matter how many times you do it, it's almost magic every time it happens. That's why when you do get an engine, say like Unreal 5, which is not in full, it's not a complete engine. They can't just go, we'll take this and put it in Unreal 5, game will work. It doesn't work like that. It's very difficult. When you get something that does do things for you, it takes pressure off one end of development, but then it puts pressure back onto another. There's no game engine that's going to give you fun. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be a lot more games being made. So,
right.
I imagine that is right now chief and foremost. The art is not going to be the problem. You know, the technology itself is 50-50. Just depends on what the game will look like, you know, when it comes out. You know?
Yeah, because
we've seen this
we
before.
technically haven't seen gameplay. We're just seeing
these are cinematics.
Yeah, exactly. It's like look at how dumb this is. I mean, this person had everything right and they have 14 likes on it when I screenshotted this earlier.
He went from like 50 followers to like 500 or since my last checking, like a few hours. So everyone's picking up on it now.
That's good. Yeah.
Maybe we should rephrase it. Internal war over Unreal 5 and custom engine.
Oh.
Will Lucasfilm allow them to? You know, some devs really want it to be action focused. Other want the story. No, why can't they do both? Like, just do that. Like, you got to rephrase.
Yeah, rather advanced development. I'm not sure what that means. Does that mean that the development is advanced or it's in advanced?
Surely not, because I know it's been 18 months, but it's early stages, and if it's got 4 years, surely it just means like they're trying to do advanced techniques, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm curious if this being like a next gen, or the next console, whatever kind of game, and way better than anything that we've ever had, and this guy is as amazing as people say he is. I wonder if it's just a very complicated thing that it is going to get a bad rap during development, because the development of this game is complicated.
My issue is they've announced it this soon, because I know people have wanted to know there's been upcoming Star Wars games, but obviously that was because there wasn't many people making them. But when EA announced them, it would be 6 to 7 months before they came out, typically, except for Ragtag, right? They came out. Battlefront wasn't. It was announced before, but we didn't see anything of it until like April Celebration. Then it came out in November. Same with Battlefront 2. Same with Squadrons and Fallen Order. That is a decent time. It's very short. You get to see gameplay pretty soon. It comes out, but I feel like this KOTOR Ubisoft open world and this one is too early. Like,
yeah,
it's just CGI trailers, and if the development's not going very well, it doesn't. If this ends up getting cancelled after this, it's going to be awful.
If they
never cancel anything after they announce it as a true. What are you talking about? You think they would film a whole premiere trailer and then never release it? I mean, what? That's never happened.
Yeah.
But I'm not biting your head off. I'm just trying to explain the.
Stop biting people's heads off, Rob.
Jesus, why?
Nice guy.
If you say anything confident, they think like you're dismissing their credibility. Bestman's dope, dude.
Bestman said 18 months, but didn't start proper work until earlier this year, apparently. So
yeah, that makes sense. When they say it's been in development for a while, that development means someone pitched something. It may be a win from one developer to another, or EA wasn't interested, or Ubisoft wasn't interested, or someone wasn't interested, or they've just been in talks. Like, hey, would you like to do this? Oh, we're thinking maybe we'll do that. And they could, for tax purposes, lump the development of High Republic into the game. Like, you never know. Like the fuzzy accounting that gets done with this, you know?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm always interested in the development of this kind of jazz and how it goes, but at the same time, I'm also like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. They're probably just going to say never mind on it. It's complicated. It's not worth it. But
this one is
Jason,
this one how games get shut down on a whim. Mm-hmm. They don't care how much they spent on it. They're not like, well, we're 100 million in. They're like, oh, we're only 100 million in. Cut it down.
Yeah.
Whew, save some money. We'll make that up in loot boxes. Don't worry.
Do you guys remember 1313? This isn't even a new thing. 1313 got like E3 like game of the whatever of E3, and they're like, never mind.
Full gameplay.
1313 for me was like a big deal because I grew up with Battlefront, and then there wasn't anything. Battlefront 3 got cancelled, and then the next big game was 1313, and I was probably a bit too young to watch E3 at that time, and I just remember seeing the gameplay trailer and thinking, it's Revenge of the Sith, basically, like in a game. I can't wait. And then it got. Yeah. I've been through this so many times now. I'm not surprised. It doesn't faze me really. Everything. There's just been so many.
You weren't around for the Obi-Wan days. The big 3-dimensional lightsaber combat with a mouse. Eventually ships on Xbox with an X button.
I'm young, so yeah. My first Star Wars game was Lego Star Wars 1, or 2.
Okay.
That's how I got into Star Wars.
It's a good game.
It's my way into Star Wars is really weird. Like, I didn't watch the films. I played through Lego Star Wars 2, so the original trilogy first, and I didn't even know what Star Wars was before that. So I've come through via the games. Like Battlefront, I would play Battlefront more than I'd watch the films.
Right. So that's kind of you're into all of this stuff is their games. Yeah. I remember when that first Lego game came out, I picked it up and I was like, this has a better representation of Star Wars in general than most of the games I've been buying lately. I remember playing that level where you do like the space battle, and I was like, yeah, like why isn't this a game? And I was like, yeah, but that's so interesting that game is what leads to one of the bigger Battlefront YouTube channels years later.
I mean, the actual original start of my knowledge of Star Wars, it's really weird, but I find it funny. And so I don't know if you guys had them in America, but Kellogg's had like little golden statues from the Phantom Menace in cereal, and I must have been about 3 years old, and I went up in the loft one day, and there was 2 of them, and I was like, "What are these?" I'm like, a guy's got horns. I'm like, "Why has this guy got horns?" And then I remember you could like take them apart. And there was a little piece of paper that said Star Wars, Phantom Menace. It was a picture of Darth Maul. I was like, "This guy, why is this guy red and black? Like, this is crazy." Then there was the hooded guy, and I was like, "What's this?" And then I forgot about it. And then a friend of mine introduced me to the Lego Star Wars 2. And I was like, "Oh, it's a Lego video game. Oh, cool." So I played it. And then I watched The Phantom Menace, and I loved it. And then I watched 4, 5, and 6. And this is when 2 and 3 were out, but I didn't watch them for many years later. So I was literally just watching Phantom Menace, 4, 5, and 6, and playing the games regularly. Oh, those tiny lightsabers. Yes, I do. I had so many of them. I was like, this is purple. Who was this? Like, why does this guy have purple when everyone's got green and blue?
Did you guys ever get the saber spoons? It was a bit later, no. I think.
Yes,
we had these like spoons, and you would like hit a button, and the clear part of the plastic spoon would light up, and it was your lightsaber spoon. Yeah, it was a good time.
Right? It's green and red and a blue.
Green, red, blue, and I think maybe even purple. But I could be.
Yeah, they did have a purple one.
Yeah. Bespin says you guys did have. Yeah, those were a good time.
I was weird. Like, I got into Star Wars from probably 2006 to 2009. I got into the Lego. I watched the Clone Wars movie when it came out, and I started watching the Clone Wars. And then I got really into indie, and I loved indie. And indie took over my over Star Wars for me, because last Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was about to come out, so I was all in on it. I got the Lego, and I was obsessed with it. And that was one of the first films I remember watching in the cinemas. So I loved all that. And then I think I just grew out of Star Wars, and then it wasn't until Force Awakens, the announcement, that I came back to it, really.
Yeah, I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I have my criticisms of it. It's not perfect. The last act is but I think it's really a fun film. And it's always interesting when you meet somebody where that's kind of because of the era in which they were of age to hit for it to hit them right.
I was 12 when it came out, so yeah. It was such a big deal for me, because I think I got into indie, I don't know, maybe just the year before, and then there was all the new Lego coming out, so that's what got me into it. And then there was the Lego game, and I played that more than Lego Star Wars, and I always wanted another indie film, and so I've been waiting for this 5th film. Again, I'm not surprised by any of these delays. I'm just
Republic Commando.
I was too young for that. So
yeah, that stuff came out, Republic Commando and all that came out at the height of my kind of burnout cynicism of life and things and all that. And I'm like, giant buff Star Wars guys, fuck this game. And I just never got into it. And when they showed up in Clone Wars and everybody was freaking out, I was like, whatever, about the yeah, man. It's funny how Star Wars people get into it not through the movies sometimes, or not to the me. I saw an AT-AT driver action figure, or the AT-AT stormtrooper guy, not the commander, the driver, and I saw the Kenner figure, and I was like, I like that spaceman. He's got tubes. That's cool. And then after that, I was just like, I want to see more of that. And so when you were talking about seeing why is this guy red? Why has this guy got a hood on? It's the same kind of thing. It kind of just gets your little kid brain going, and you're like, I want more of this. And then it kind of takes over. But yeah. So for you, this new Quantic Dream game, what's it called? Star Wars Eclipse. How important is it to you that it has really, really good multiplayer, considering your Battlefront love?
I am a big
because I'm hesitant about it.
I know. So I am typically mostly playing multiplayer games. My favorite gaming franchise is Halo. For me, Star Wars and Halo are my 2 favorite franchises. But I also love Halo story, so I do enjoy single player games. My favorite ever single player game is Red Dead Redemption 2. So I can enjoy really in-depth, well done games, but I spend most of the time playing multiplayer. I just enjoy competitive multiplayer mostly. So if this game, it has apparently multiplayer components according to these guys, but
then that's what they're playtesting right now.
Yeah, it's either going to be an add-on that isn't very good, or it's just going to be like something really simple. Because I just can't. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the manpower to do something that's going to be actually really good. And I think at this point, Battlefront fans, which makes up a lot of people, will take anything multiplayer. But even then, it's got to be closer to Battlefront than anything else. And Tom Henderson's hinting that there's going to be more multiplayer games in development soon. So who knows? Maybe they'll, with Lucasfilm Games running stuff, they'll be like, actually, instead of putting all these resources and making tons of multiplayer stuff for this game, there's a multiplayer game that's going to fill that hole. Because Battlefront is the only thing going right now. There needs to be more. It's just that they're going to be the years away yet. So.
Yeah, because like you brought up Red Dead Redemption, and that's kind of been my secret hope, is that we would have a game, even if it's nowhere near as good, but if it just even jumped for the height of that game, like just attempting to achieve that world and that level of it, that would hit the spot for me. Because like right now I'm replaying Red Dead right now. The actual story mode. I've been playing the online mode for like on and off for years. Whenever I finish my Fortnite season, I start playing the online versions of that and Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna start the story over. And as I started the story over, I'm like doing all of the different options in Red Dead that I didn't do.
I got Red Dead. So we can both play. Can I meet you up in there? Because I just got to re-download it to my Xbox.
Yeah, if you have it on Xbox, that's what I played on. I actually bought the online component on Steam for the PC, but I never tried it yet. I just bought it because it was $4. I was like, yeah, I'll just get that just in case I need it later.
I think I'm like a quarter of the way through the game and I never finished it.
Yeah, no, it's so good, and the story is so rewarding. It's like a film, but it's able to do something a film can never do, or even a series, just because of the.
I likened it to like being a novel because it's that long but so in depth, and it's so well crafted. You can tell how much effort was put into it. I know it took so long, and this is why we'll probably never get a Star Wars game like this. Yeah. They went through multiple iterations. They have hundreds to thousands of people in all over Rockstar, different studios, and they're just on a different level. And it's because they have the freedom. They don't have to adhere to whatever Lucasfilm or Disney want them to do. They do whatever they want. Sometimes they're being controlled by Take-Two right now, and have been for a long time. That's one of the reasons why this new trilogy remaster thing failed. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have.
A little bit.
So yeah, it's just like
that's why it failed.
Yeah. So I'm quite in with like the GTA community. Like I run like the biggest GTA like fan site and stuff like that. And
nice.
It's I've been in contact with Rockstar and things like that, and there's some insiders, and it's true. Like there's a lot of people working there that are just it's better than it has. Like the working conditions have been better because it was really bad during like Red Dead and stuff. But things like they outsourced this game, like the remaster, and they've lost a lot of. Yeah, it's
a mobile outsource, port of a mobile outsource dumped into an engine. It's something else.
I never played GTA.
Hey man, when the rain is raining in the car, it's fun. You should try it. It's the best ever. It's just like playing the original Grand Theft Auto 4 or 3. Yeah, whatever.
It says they've taken a ton of developers off Red Dead Online and GTA Online, and within like all these Rockstar employees that are now having to work on the remaster and fix up, they've fixed all that stuff straight away, and it's literally taken days. If they just given them more time or actual resources, it would have been so much better.
I'm just gonna say that multiplayer money that they just love it so much. They don't want to single player. Fuck you. Multiplayer. Gotta have it. GTA Online. Gotta have it. If you don't have more GTA Online, you got money's life. Capitalism. Gotta have it. So
They've just announced a brand new update, which is coming next week, and it's got Dr. Dre in and other people, unreleased music, and it's basically got single player characters. They've brought these guys back. Instead of doing a single player, it's an update for GTA Online because that's where everyone's spending the money. So
that's cool. I mean, you know, I would rather I would personally rather the game continue online because I'm an online player. I know Rob isn't. Rob isn't a big fan of playing it. I just you know, I learn in AI and then I'm like, well, okay, now I'm superior because I'm human. Or the AI is so cheap that I'm like, fuck you, AI, you're cheap.
Yeah, you're right. Because playing against people is always intelligent. It's a really great experience. Never screaming and yelling at people just randomly trolling me all fucking night. You know what I mean? Like that's never happened.
Listen, guys, I have one thing to like tell you guys right now, and that's that man is the greatest game. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, I never have been able to understand why Lucasfilm has never had the foresight or the ability to stick it out and try to get some of that Rockstar money, like the shark card kind of stuff. Like Battlefront.
Licensors.
Well, I mean,
licensing.
Like Battlefront shit the bed. It went all out. Was like, hey, everybody, give us money to play. You know, play to win was the argument that at that time, and everybody was really mad at them. But when you look at like shark cards and all that kind of stuff, like Star Wars people love to spend money. They love it. They can't stop consuming stuff, and they just don't want to give us cosmetics like over and over. It's like, you know, you guys have made your bread and butter for years on selling the same action figures over and over, and people love it. If you just made a Star Wars game where I could spend $20 to buy a Lando Calrissian skiff guard outfit, I would probably do it in Battlefront. You know what I mean? It boggles my brain. And
obviously,
I'm hoping,
Battlefront's demise wasn't down to I don't know the full inner workings, but it was more down to EA wanting to make sure they have as many people on Battlefield because it was literally as COVID was happening, and Battlefront had such a small crew. Like there wasn't that many people working on it for those. They was given longer time than we ever expected, but it does feel like if they'd have given them another year, because Mando was coming out, it would have had more time to grow. Like the game was really popular. It sold nearly 20 million copies the second one. It went free on Epic Games Store, and 19 million people added it to their accounts, but millions of people did actually download it and play it. Like we saw that it happened.
It was a fun
buy anything.
It was a fun like couple of months after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
You could actually get games. I played the Ewok Hunt. I was able to do that.
Yeah, it was my biggest month on YouTube for like
that got scary.
6 to 8 months. It was great. And then the sad thing is you've got two options. You either play Fortnite, which most people don't want to do, Battlefront players, or you play Galaxy of Heroes, which none of us want to do, because Galaxy of Heroes is getting everything. They are getting Legends characters. They're getting all the canon stuff, and it's because it's made over $1 billion in 5 years or 6 years, and people are still dropping thousands weekly. Like there's people that are I don't know. I don't get it. I'm from this sort of
just get a big vacuum cleaner and just suck all that money out of your fan base, man. Capitalism is awesome.
I probably drop, seriously, I probably drop about at least $60 a month in Fortnite between myself and my two kids, between somebody wanting something. And I would be happy to spend that on Star Wars content, you know, that I am playing, but they won't listen to me. They would rather put it in that dumb mobile game. And hey, if it's
I told you the easiest thing they could do, have a game out in 12 months is get, you know, Demu or Way Forward or one of these cats to make Super Mandalorian, Super make the Super Star Wars games a big multiplayer if you want to have 2D pixel, Battlefront Vania like game, and that would, you can get the nostalgia and you can get the dumbass Terraria. I mean, you can get those how do I say this? You can get something out faster, with animation, and there's that whole Super Star Wars fan base that goes nowhere. It's so weird with Star Wars. It's just Rockstar's, the last game they made that they licensed was the Warriors. Didn't sell well. I imagine that studio doesn't want to be paying how much, and we gotta give them how much? 20%, 40% off gross. You know what I mean? And how much are they footing for dev? 0. Why? Why? What's the incentive to that? But it would be cool. So I've always said, this is before Jedi Fallen Order, I was like, you need a dev that has super talent, underrated, hungry, wants to get a name, and doesn't mind losing some money off the top. Now, the Titanfall crew, I was like, that makes the most sense. Remedy made the most sense to me at the time, because Titanfall was great, but didn't have that push that they got the Fallen Order out right before that Apex Legends. So like, that's where they're making their money now. But Quantic Dream is that, again, it fits that narrative of there's a team that has, the guy knows how to ship product, takes a little long, but Lucasfilm seems to don't mind that. And won some awards, probably doesn't mind the licensing fee to gain the Star Wars clout. Like, it has to be this right fit. Ubisoft is just one of those studios like, we'll make anything, anytime, anywhere, for any money, any budget. Doesn't matter. We don't care. Our fans, they'll complain and buy it anyway, unless it's a snowboarding game, which is actually pretty good, but we'll ignore them. Like, it's just love that snowboarding
I just
game.
say bring back LJN and let them make all the Star Wars games.
So it's just, and EA is they don't care about 20 million sold. They should. It's amazing. They don't. They want to know daily engagement, hourly engagement, weekly engagement. That's what they want. The profit model is in the loot boxes or whatever they've replaced that with. New character skins, maps, whatever. It's in the constant churn. They want that GTA money, guys. GTA Online is the money. They don't care about how many copies are sold. They want GTA Online, Fortnite money. That's it. That's all they want. And like, they nothing new with Star Wars with chasing what's popular. The problem is Star Wars used to have an internal development company called LucasArts that just made stuff until they didn't. So in Disney, I don't know if you're aware, Disney's history with video game companies is nefarious at best. Like, it doesn't matter what studio they set up, they will rip it out in a heartbeat. They don't get gaming. That studio has never got video games. I mean, look what they did to the Epic Mickey crew. Like, they don't care. I mean, the what was the toy line they did with the little figures? They don't give
Disney
a shit.
Infinity.
Yeah, they don't care. Best thing they ever made. Don't care. Rip it right out.
They almost released a 4th one, and they just, I think it was getting close to being announced and stuff like that, and they just cancelled it all. And it's like, yeah, that was another thing. They really don't care. And then they said, like, a few years ago, now we're starting to understand it. It's like, no, yeah, there you go. I never had any, but apparently, like, the Disney 3 with Star Wars was pretty good. It was actually a good game.
It was mostly a really good game. When they put out the very last one, you could tell that it got really it got a lot cheaper, that they weren't trying as hard as they did on the early ones.
Oh yeah.
But my kids loved it. Like, they were just obsessed with it. And I guess I remember there was a weird reason why they stopped doing it at the time. But
something about the cost.
Well, it was something about, I think it might have to do with like shelf space or something weird. It was something weird where, and then there was some other game that had come out that was super popular, and like the major retailers wanted to give that shelf space to it's the same concept. And
it was Skylanders, I think.
Skylanders, yeah. Skylanders was taking the shelf space, and they did the math and knew that if the game could not possibly grow with the amount of shelf space that they were going to have.
I think they were also fighting Lego Dimensions too at that point.
Yes, and that died very quickly. Like, they tried to replicate the same thing. And I saw a story, maybe it was last year or this year. One of the developers went in on launch day to Lego Dimensions into a store to see, because it was really hyped up, and he said like he waited like hours and no one bought anything. Like it was basically dead on arrival, and that was killed off pretty quick.
It was like $30 because I was working at Toys R Us for one season, and that all that stuff was out, and it was like $30 for the continuing pack. I mean, you're really invested in that. If you wanted to get any farther and have any kind of fun, like you're gonna spend over $100 just for that one thing, and then you move on to the next. And then they had, don't get me wrong, like I liked all the stuff they released. It was really cool to see a lot of like Back to the Future Legos and all that kind of stuff. But by the end of it, there's just no way the normal kid could keep up buying all that crap.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Disney's never going to move away from just licensing out their games. The problem is they signed a 10-year exclusive deal with EA right off the bat for Star Wars, and so now you're locked into. That's what happened. That's where we're at. So within 5 years it'll be solved, but it's
well, right now for me, when I look at this game coming down the pipeline, the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which is supposedly going to be drastically different than the original, and that coming down the pipeline, the Lego Skywalker saga was finally going to come out, which my son is like having me look up the release date every month, probably. Like, what's the status?
I check for stuff every day. It's my job. As soon as there is anything, I can tell you. But I'm searching every little bit. There was one time when I was going through random retailers and I found a South African retailer had a new image of one of the DLC packs, and I was like, yes, the find of the year. And that's basically what got me excited, and that's what excited a lot of people. That's all we had.
That one's a hard one, because whenever things get canceled in real life or whatever, and everybody complains, it's like, but it's so much different when it happens and there's like an 8-year-old boy staring at you like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? It's not coming out, because it was supposed to be out like this Christmas.
That's how I felt with Battlefront 3. Battlefront 3 was actually being developed really close to where I lived, and I was so excited. I was, oh my god, it's really close! And it was like we had it was ready to come out, and then it didn't, and then another one got cancelled, and it just, so for several years, me growing up wanting a new Battlefront for my Xbox 360, there wasn't anything, and it was like really tough to deal with. And I think that's how that was one of the reasons why I fell out of love with Star Wars, because there wasn't anything that I moved on to Halo and would play that, and Call of Duty and other mostly online games, and then I think Clone Wars lost me a bit. I was like, I'm not really into this, and then I stopped basically consuming anything Star Wars until, I guess, the teaser trailer. I think probably for Force Awakens.
Max Payne,
and
right?
I didn't, unfortunately. I was too young. Like I didn't get in. I think my first 18+ game was like when I was like 16, maybe. So, and that was like GTA. But yeah, I was just going to mention as well. I think I first came across your site with the Force Awakens leaks, like when they first. I was like, this is the best thing ever. And
I had it's kind of funny. I actually over the years have had Battlefront, like back then, and especially when it was getting like Battlefront information about like Battlefront 2, and like where they're, but by the time I reported the spoiler, and then by the time like all of the stuff went to a development, that stuff was all wrong. And then I was just like, reporting on video games is too hard. It's just like it's such a I have nothing but sympathy for people who like yourself who like cover like development and stuff, though, because you're just like, ooh. But
I was in an interesting position with Battlefront because I got invited to play it and test it before it had even been revealed. So things that were in that build of the game that we helped give out feedback on and changed, by May, when we replayed it again, a month before its gameplay reveal, it was already changed. And they made so much incredible progress in those 2 months. And then when it actually got public at EA Play in June, the progress they made within 3 weeks, like I was helping film the trailer, like I was one of the clone troopers and battle droids in like some of the shots, and it was an amazing experience. But like they were changing so much stuff and got it all done within a few weeks. So it's like if someone had leaked stuff then, things would have been different when it was public.
Yeah,
and this is like when this map was basically ready. This is like the alpha that's about to go live for people on, it's going to be available to download, and things were constantly changing.
Right. It burned the other day. I didn't even cover it on the show because I was like, God damn. When I saw that they were talking about how there were like models or like whatever, like prototypes for Mustafar and all of these things that like I really wanted. I was just like, come on, man. I'm like, I'm glad that the developer said something, like at least like confirmed it, but it hurt.
I visited them several times before Battlefront 2 came out, and then I went a year later for Geonosis, for the big relaunch, and the stuff that was telling me, and we got to know the future plans. And for the next year or so, it was incredible. Like the stuff they was making, it was so good for Battlefront, and like the people that were working on the game were very like big Star Wars fans. They were so passionate. They did so much. There was just not many of them because they weren't allowed the resources. And they had so many things. Like they wanted to do so much more, and it just couldn't. They couldn't. It was cut pretty short.
That game by the end of its, where it ended up was so good too. It really is.
It's my favorite Star Wars game ever.
Yeah.
It's the game I've put the most hours. It gives me everything I've ever wanted in a Star Wars game, like all eras, multiplayer. It's just I've played through from before that it was the Lego games were my favorite. Like they just well made crafted levels, and I really like that. But then in comparison, I really like the multiplayer aspect of Battlefront, and I haven't had as much Star Wars experience in a video game as Battlefront 2. There's nothing close for me.
Yeah. The Star Wars Eclipse website is working now, by the way. It wasn't working earlier today. It would say like no stream or something. But they're saying weave a tapestry of interlaced destinies. See the galaxy through the eyes of an ensemble cast of multiple charismatic playable characters, each with their own morality, personality, motivations, and impact upon each other and the story at large. And then it shows little Yoda. I wonder if Yoda will be one of the playable characters. I'm supposed to ask myself.
It's Yaddle.
Compose an original Star Wars story. With all new characters and environments, you have the power to make choices with consequences thanks to the many outcomes in this deeply branching narrative. So that right there is promising me what I want, what I like about Red Dead single player. It's kind of saying that that's going to be a possibility. Shape your fate in the Outer Rim. And in an uncharted section of the galaxy with never before seen species and planets to discover, this part of the Outer Rim is rife with opportunity and political tensions that could alter the fabric of peace. What will you do? I'm going to make war because it's a Star Wars.
It's 3PO.
Grab your that's 3PO's mom. Grab free digital goodies from Star Wars Eclipse to use on your social networks. Oh, because you can download the fan kit. That's what I was going to get to try to make a featured image today, but this shit was down.
Emaciated.
Check out the gallery for more. And so at that point,
the screenshot file names I saw revealed there wasn't much, but it did say it confirmed it was Yoda. Like, obviously, if anyone doubted it. But what was interesting is, those pilgrims, the red people from it calls them Anomid pilgrims, and I searched that up, and that's something on Wikipedia. And this specific type was in Rogue One. I think it was like a background character. So I have a feeling it could be Jeddah. It seems like it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I got it right here. The Tori Boda religion is there. The Anomid colonists, which are called the Disciple of the Wills, are there, and the Isopter cultists are also there. and all of those guys are from Jedi. So it's like it definitely looks like we probably are looking at Jeddah some years before.
Giant rock
before
Jedi
it gets destroyed.
battles.
Yeah, at least that's what I'm hoping or thinking. But at the same time, I mean, I would say that would be a really good place for an open world game, because you have all these giant statues that you can put out into the wilderness, and then you have that core city that's very, very classical looking. And then, you know, you have also your like the weird places that Saw Gerrera lives, like in the catacombs and stuff like that you could put into an open world adventure game. That would just be the best place to, like, you know, handle that kind of stuff. And with all the kyber crystal, the nature of it was that it was a kyber crystal rich planet. And it's like that's why they're mining it in the movie. And so for a video game, yeah, why wouldn't you set your game there if you can, if they'll allow it, you know? So yeah, I'm betting on it being Jeddah. That one shot too looks so much like the shot of Jeddah that we see where it doesn't look terrible. You know, that one far away shot where like, was beautiful. And like you look at it like, yeah, I think that is it. But yeah. Should we hit this Ming-Na Wen piece real quick? And see what, because every single day we have a new Ming-Na Wen interview. And on this one,
you like her Fortnite shade last night?
What happened?
She went on stage and it was for best narrative in a game, and she goes, you know, stories and everything. It's nice. I got an 8-year-old, and it's nice to see games that don't involve just throwing grenades and
oh really
blowing up and running around. And I was like, Fortnite.
Oh,
subtle shade. Subtle shade.
I am not personally invested in the Fortnite story whatsoever, but I have done the live events with my children, and my children during those storied live events scream their fucking heads off like it's the Beatles. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I do not see this anywhere else. I take them to the movies and they'll love a movie. No reaction, but I love this movie. But the Fortnite things, when the Rock showed up, they were like, "There's his face," and my friends, my son's best friend starts yelling, "It's John Cena! It's John Cena!" And my son's like, "It's not John Cena! It's the Rock!" But
I just want to state for the record, me and a few screenwriters on Twitter have been deving out Son of Ernest starring John Cena. It's been my dream for this to happen for the longest time, and we are trying to gain the attention subtly. But there's a great plot line. We got it all worked out. Like, we just need John Cherry to direct, and we'd be good.
Since my kid was like probably 6 years old,
he's been playing
the Rocket Foundation.
Whoa. Yes. Pretty excited.
Who else is in it?
Kevin the Cube. Just say Kevin the Cube to him.
Kevin the Cube? Who's Kevin the Cube?
He's not in the game.
Okay, I see. I'm behind. But my kids been talking about Kevin the Cube. There's Kevin the Cube stuff. We looked under the ground, and Kevin the Cube was down there, and they're like saying that, and then like the whole season becomes about Kevin the Cube. Eventually, the dude was like freaking out about it, you know, and then the island flipped over. And for like 4 hours, all the kids were talking about was the story element of the island flipping over. And I once again had to step back and go, this isn't for me. This is their childhood. Let them have it.
This is not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, but they were, you know, and I was like, okay, things can be shallow, and humanity will find the depth where they need it, and that's what I think these children are doing. But Ming-Na Wen is so Entertainment Weekly is finally doing some Star Wars coverage. Interestingly enough, I don't see any exclusive images for them, so Empire is actually rocking it this time for Book of Boba so far. But goes on to say basically that it wasn't until after she signed the contract that she discovered it was for something much bigger and better. She thought it was for Mando Season 3. She would be heading to the Book of Boba Fett, a spin-off series that debuts on December 29th on Disney Plus and follows Fennec and her infamous bounty hunter boss, as they infiltrate the galactic underworld. And for the record, for as you know, Entertainment Weekly as this has to be, there is actually a few good nuggets.
Is it really infiltrating?
I mean, I guess. I mean, he is all sneaky.
Is it going to be like the comic where he paints himself black and no one knows it's him?
Yeah, they're like, oh, who is this guy? Hello, dark stranger. They're all like fucking NPCs in a role playing game in that comic book.
I am Jester Fett. Yeah,
it's definitely comic book Superman logic. When I put on these glasses, nobody knows I'm Superman. So yeah, so she goes on to say that it's just blind trust with Disney and everyone at this point. I've been with them for so long that I figure I'm going to be taken care of, and that makes sense. I guess she was on ER. I never watched that shit. I didn't even know that.
She was good on ER.
Yeah, I never saw it. I was like, that guy needs to be back in Revenge of the Nerds. If he's not in Revenge of the Nerds, it doesn't exist. That's what I said. And then all of a sudden, Obi-Wan Kenobi was on it. Ewan McGregor. And because he was going to be in the prequels, so I watched that episode, and that's all I ever saw.
Bro, I've been waiting for Gotcha 2 for 35 years.
Thank you. So, finally, somebody said what we're all thinking.
As it true is like, what the fuck is there talking about?
Yeah.
What are nerds? We don't use that word anymore. That's it. There's one, and he's angry. That's it. It's the one I know.
So the ER alum, blah, 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 brought grit to Fennec, but her character was killed off before the credits rolled. So when she learned on set that that Mandalorian showrunner Dave Filoni attended the same Pittsburgh high school, she began campaigning hard for her resurrection. I kept joking, you can't kill an alum, dude, she says. Come on, we've got to figure out something here. There's got to be nepotism. We're both Yinzers. I'm pretty sure she was like, listen, Dave Filoni, I'm fucking hot and you're a nerd. You should probably give him a big ass wedgie. You know? Just like pulled his fucking underwear up like over his shoulders and was like, remember that shit, Dave?
Jason, the comment doesn't need a joke. It's pretty good as is. You know? If you had paid me, if you woke me up, say, hey, can you guess anything she's gonna say in this article? I would never have guessed. We're both Yinzers. Like, all right,
we're both Yinzers.
You know, I stand corrected.
What's up with this picture right now? Am I joining a space cult?
That's prom night at Yinzer High.
She's like, Dave, you never had shit like this because you're a big ass nerd.
I thought it was the Game of Thrones knives, but I guess it's light speed. But it kind of reminds me of the Games of Thrones.
Can I get rid of this stupid window? Thank you.
Did she? Oh, she's got the space dress and the light speed background. That's pretty dope. Or did they add it on top?
I'm pretty sure she was naked, and they just drew this on
top. Damn it!
Because
that is clever. If you know you're going to be standing on the red carpet in front of a light speed thing and you're able to get a space dress, that's pretty cool. But I think they added that on top.
Yeah, well, like
wow,
I said, it
poorly
looks
too. You know, it's like all like they spread. What? We've been waiting for an Entertainment Weekly thing for a while. So all right,
yeah. Credit.
I didn't know they went to high school or college.
Illustration by Hasao Ron Chang for EW.
It's an illustration.
That's what it says. Credit illustration. Yeah. by Chang for EW. So eventually Filoni agreed. He revived Fennec by explaining that she'd been rescued by Tamara Morrison's gravel voice Boba Fett. I'm Boba Fett, a character, as you'll recall, who knows all about returning from the dead, having been swallowed by a Sarlacc in 1983 for Return of the Jedi. Now, the very much alive pair are setting off on their own adventure. Like Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett picks up after the original trilogy. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, here's the interesting part. She says Boba Fett is more like a take on gangster movies. Less the good, the bad, and the ugly. More the Godfather. So I thought that was actually an interesting note to make about it, and I think it definitely is going to set it apart as a story from The Mandalorian.
So is there going to be a Fredo, or was the whole table at the meeting they're all Fredos?
It's too bad they killed Bib Fortuna, because he's a great Fredo. When he is just
I'm Kista! I'm smart!
Kista's here! I'm smart! What? I can
Who made all these flash droids?
I'm sorry. I do what I need to do.
They're droids. They're not. They're not droids. I made smart.
I want C-3PO to come out. Boba, our baby. It was an abortion, Boba. An abortion.
Making fun of me at the sauna. I can't have it.
Look, every time you talk, you fire spray all over my fucking face. You need to stop it, dude. Like, slow down.
Oh fuck! All right. So, Wen speaks of the Star Wars universe with a kind of nerdy reverence that can only come from a lifelong fan. Born on Macau off the southern coast of China and raised in the Pittsburgh suburb of Mount Lebanon, Wen spent most of her childhood living upstairs from her family's restaurant. I want to live above a restaurant. That sounds fun. I'd be so fat, even fatter. But she still remembers seeing 1977's A New Hope and identifying with Luke Skywalker's journey. Those were my two worlds, she says. And when you're a young kid, you really don't fit in either, especially being Chinese in a very white suburban neighborhood. So when my friends and I went to see Star Wars, I was so immersed into this incredible folklore and sense of hope and being the hero of your own story. So I don't want to assume that her family ran a Chinese restaurant, but wouldn't it be funny if it was like a Buffalo Wild Wings and they lived above a Buffalo Wild Wings?
Popeye's chicken.
My Aunt Maggie's from Okinawa, and we used to go to her place, and her friends owned a donut shop, Rose's Donuts, best donuts in San Diego. Still there. It's brilliant. But they used to go, yeah, we're going to get some food. And I'm like, all right, I want this Chinese food I always see on the show. Donuts. I was like, donuts. As a kid, you're like, but don't you want the donuts? I'm like, can I get it and Chinese food? Cut to like 20 years later, they open up this Chinese and donut place in El Cajon. And I was like, finally, someone got it. Someone thought they were going to get the Chinese food, but now they can get both.
Yeah.
I've never been more happier than the day I walked into a Chinese food and donuts restaurant. I got to tell you, it's the best.
There's one here too that they do donuts and cheesesteaks.
When I lived in San Francisco, I lived off of 46th Street, right near the Golden Gate Park. And right down from me to the left, just a little ways, was kind of like an old movie theater and an Italian restaurant run by Chinese ladies. And it was so fun because when I was starting making Star Wars, my son was really small, and I would go in there and I would get lunch, but they would just take Luke from me. And he would just hang out with them. They would like be feeding him meatballs and shit.
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, no, and I would get to work. It was like,
as a church, this would be like really wanting Tim Tams and you can get curry. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can get Tim Tams and some dope ass curry at the same time. And I would
in Southern California, you can't get daycare and Italian food at the same time. But also, well, that's why I'm not trying to assume that at a Chinese restaurant.
Chuck E. Cheese tried that; it didn't work. They just became leave kid here, go away. For 4 hours.
Over there, that's just a guy in a suit.
Yeah. So Ming-Na brings an incredible swagger, says Robert Rodriguez, which we know that. We've seen that. We know what the swagger is. Blah, blah, blah. Wen started to repeatedly stab a tiny control panel with a knife, all while wearing a helmet that limited her visibility. I told her it's such a small target. I need to edit it to a tighter shot anyway, so don't feel bad if you miss, the director recalls. We're all amazed when after take, she'd stab it, hit the mark every time. She's the real deal. She's a psychopath murderer. Growing up, blah, 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 blah. They're really pushing that she's a real Star Wars fan kind of. Like, on one hand, maybe this is just the article and what they, what they were asking for. But like I remember when Star Wars Rebels was announced, and who was the Tia Sakara who plays Sabine Wren in Star Wars Rebels? Somebody asked her like a question, like are you a real Star Wars fan? And she was like, I know a little bit about it. Like, she wasn't a crazy fan, and it truly doesn't matter. Alec Guinness, probably the best actor in the original trilogy, hates the shit. Doesn't give a fuck about it. Never watched it again after he saw it the first time. Like, it's completely irrelevant. But that is the fluff. But I find it interesting when the PR pushes that angle of fluff, because it does set up people to ask anybody who's involved, are you a real fan? and try to prove that side of it when I really don't care like if they
saw that with the sequel trilogy with John and Daisy. Daisy hadn't seen the films, and people weren't happy about that. She's just a person. She got a job, whereas John loves it, and that's all they made the PR about it. It was like, oh, what's your favorite film? And it's like after the third film, like it's like so tiresome. Like we get it.
Wait till they talk to Tony Gilroy. Wait till they talk to Alec Guinness.
Oh, what if she had said like her favorite movie was Invasion USA with Chuck Norris?
Alec Guinness only agreed to sign something if the kid promised to never watch Star Wars again.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's true.
It's true. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
So it's like people should just chill the fuck out. Jesus.
It would be really, really, really funny if at some point somebody was up for a role and they're like, hey, or they get it. They're like, they're about to do an interview on like a talk show. And somebody's like, just say you like the Phantom Menace. Just say the Phantom Menace is the only good Star Wars movie. And that's the one. Just keep saying that. Say Empire Strikes Back.
I prefer the theatrical release of the Clone Wars. It's the most truest form of Star Wars that ever was. It's a serial and a movie at the same time, right? Like you're like, oh shit, dude. And they're just dropping knowledge.
I'm just going to be honest with you guys. My performance is mostly based off the great late Wilford Brimley. I believe he truly embodied the
diabetes.
Diabetes. The planet
Diabetes
from the planet Diabetes.
The only man that actually has a Miyazaki mustache, the one from the cartoons, not the real life. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we are we're in that little place here where the interviews are probably going to start just getting full of basic like fat, but I did like the one thing I did like from this. It was just that Godfather angle, though, that gangster movie thing. I think it says a lot about it, because when you have the gunslinger story, which is what the Mandalorian has been doing, it's a lot of one guy going in and kicking ass and then having to like bounce around from situation to like situation. He doesn't really, like, Mando doesn't really have a main goal a lot of the time. They do come up in multiple like kind of season things, like I'm going to protect the kid is the goal or whatever. But
don't take my helmet off fails every episode.
Yeah, don't watch me eat this grilled cheese sandwich. If you watch me eat this grilled cheese sandwich, I'm kicked out of my religion. Oh no!
Where'd it go? Where'd it go, Grogu? Where'd the sandwich go? I don't know.
You're only invisible when no one's looking at you.
Right,
bro. I'm invisible right now. Can't see me. Can't see me.
Yeah, but I mean, so we are, unless she's only talking about the first episode, but I don't think she would do that. I'm gonna just guess that an actor walks away feeling the whole thing, having done multiple episodes, maybe out of order. I don't know if they filmed them in order or not actually on this one, but if that's her takeaway, is that the whole thing is more Godfather-ish, and it might be that her scenes are stuff like where she says, "You're lucky Boba doesn't feed you to his menagerie," and stuff like that. So those might be her big moments too, and that might be why she says it. But I do like that we aren't getting just more Mando necessarily. More Mando with Boba in his place,
Yeah, that's what I was a bit worried about. I know it was, people were saying it's like Mando season 3. I guess it is because it's continuation of the story to an extent. But I enjoyed what we got for the first 2 seasons, but it's kind of nice to have a bit of a break and have something different, especially when there hasn't been anything except for Bad Batch in like a year.
Yeah.
16 episodes. Totally necessary.
Oh.
Had to be. Couldn't do it any other way.
Yeah, some of them just it got too long. Like some of the episodes I really weren't. It was just a chore to like get
that episode where they didn't want to do something, but Omega talked him into doing the right thing was my personal favorite.
Oh, you mean the one where she goes, friends?
And they learn she's always right. But the next episode, they forget it, but they relearn she's always right.
If they forget, they will get reminded.
It takes 15, 16 tries for that to happen. I ask my wife. I don't learn anything or anything. Every day, it's like I didn't pay attention to the previous episode.
That's what I have actually kind of liked and respected. Maybe it's only for budgetary reasons. I don't know, but these shows being 6 to 8 episodes, or the seasons being 6 to 8 episodes, means that even when something is called filler, you could still actually defend it as not necessarily being filler. You know what I mean? It doesn't in the live action stuff. And it seems to be where somebody like Dave Filoni is prospering, because it's like when they do these longer seasons of the cartoons, they do end up just having these episodes that are simply expositionally placed to connect the 7th to the 8th to the 9th episode, for instance, and you're like that 8th episode in the middle there, I didn't really need it. They could have just put a line in and I would have just been like, okay, here we are now. But yeah, I think the animated shows could probably, I would rather there be multiple animated shows running concurrently with 8 episodes, because I think if you just edited Bad Batch into the core essence of the story, it's good. It's good and it's fun. It's just the repetitive
first
nature.
episode was very good.
Yeah,
it felt like the episodes following it didn't feel like it was a different series, but it felt a little bit. Yeah, it sucks because the first episode really, like, my friends loved it, and then it just dropped off. It didn't really pick up. I still watched it, but I can't really remember most of the episodes. Like, they're forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah, Resistance was like that too for me.
Well, it's because you know what, Resistance? I don't remember shit about Resistance now. Like, not much from it. There were things to like in it. I don't remember it now. Maybe
it's such a memorable title.
Yeah. Bobby Moynihan was good. I remember that much.
Moynihan Donald Faison was in as the Rhodian, wasn't he the Rhodian?
Yeah, like that's the when it came to when it comes to Bad Batch, is they continued the same drama beats for so long. All you remember is that, like, the one guy, oh, is he evil and is he going to do the right thing? And then they have turmoil, and it was just continually in the same place. And I think it's because they didn't have the money to, like, keep making new sets and stuff, is my guess. And that they reused a lot of sets from the Clone Wars. Like, one whole episode is like the farmhouse that was already in the Clone Wars. They didn't need to make that. They already had it. And I think the animated shows are just not going to be treated as, I mean, we just got, what do you call it? The anime one, Star Wars Visions.
Visions, yeah.
Beautiful, brilliant. But the actual serialized shows, I'm not sure I believe in them anymore. I don't know if they're really they
look like PS3 remasters. Like, this game's really, they're really upping the frame rate on this one, man. It's just, look at that Xbox, it's a new show.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
It just felt like a lot of side quests in the middle. Like, it was like a game where they'd have to do pointless side quests. Like, they just go. It was just largely irrelevant. And
I wanted a minecart ride as a church.
Yeah,
I just wanted a minecart. I wanted the Indiana Jones. I wanted the sequel to that. We had the setup. We had the freaking time to do it. Nothing. I was like, this is actually. It's less excitement than Big Thunder Mountain. Like, how did they do that? Like, yeah. Okay. Well, that was your shot.
Yeah. That was an opportunity to really do something super fun, and
super fun.
It doesn't sit well in the memory. I do like the character though, even though they did make her a bit Pollyannish at times, and it does kind of like taint my memory of her. I do think that the character and the premise is strong enough that it could be good. I'm curious.
A character who has a good moral heart that is unfortunately alive and at that age during the point where Palpatine takes over everything and all your friends are going to betray you probably to survive, right? Is an excellent, like, oh, they're really going to, the Nazis are really, my friends are going to betray me for the Nazis. Well, they want to survive, kid. You know what? Like under normal circumstances, they, you know, she'd be like an average person in a normal world, but this is a topsy-turvy world now where, you know, things don't go well, and even if you do the right thing, you may be not just unrewarded, but you may murder more people than you had intended to get, you know, like get hurt more than you can do good. Like that is a great, you know, premise. It just, I'm certain, as with anything, if they stick with it, like with the Clone Wars, they get there.
Yeah.
Right? And then in your mind, you just filter out the half dozen episodes that you don't need to remember, you know?
Yeah. Well, like with like Clone Wars, I mean, you have like George Lucas going, I want to do these 13 little Star Wars movies that are on my brain. And then they go and they like I want to do the Onderon arc where we have this guy and he's and his sister, and then they're going to be the ones who start the Rebel Alliance. Like it's like that's how we get Saw Gerrera. Like there's like these like ideas, and we don't the filler episodes of the newer shows. They don't actually do anything that ambitious. And then, but what sucks about modern Star Wars cartoons, and I think Rebels is a good example of it, is that Rebels starts really good. Then I feel like it's very tedious, very Pollyannish as well. But then what they do is by the end of it, they pick up all of the threads and they make something really good to end it. Like once they know where they need to go and they have that like drive to get there, it picks up a lot. And so that's why I'm always like hesitant about like Bad Batch. Like Bad Batch season 3 is probably gonna be fucking cool. You know what I mean? It's probably gonna get really good at that point, but they are making us pay for it. They do make us like really kind of work for it, I'd say.
I have to watch it at 2 a.m. for this show, man. It's the only thing. That and the Disney Plus day is just like, I was like, all right, well, today this is where it takes from Rob. I have to show up and watch 4 hours of Twitter tweets.
Disney Plus day was so funny.
It was one of those little itty bitty things from Hallmark.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And it's the Empire Palpatine one. I can't get over that, how like they made an itty bitty out of it.
Palpatine. With his tag is bigger than him.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got the little lightning though on his coat, so hey.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Star Wars that one Star Wars day was funny because I had it on pretty good authority what was supposed to be there, but everybody else was saying so many other things. I was just like, I must just not know. I'm just gonna sit this out and see what happens. Nothing happened.
I would take 13 more of those cruiser trailers before I have to sit there and
that. I don't know.
It's faster. It's still faster. It was 3 hours of waiting for someone to tweet something. I don't like, look, man, this is where it might be my age, but you know, like I couldn't wait for the internet to take over when I was a teenager. And now I'm like, is this what we're waiting for someone to tweet a logo? Maybe they will. I don't know. Like I can't do it randomly in a 3 hour window. Like,
welcome to the new world.
At least I can see on the timeline when it's over. You know, like if Disney Plus Day could just if it was like a countdown where you know like Royal Rumble every 60 seconds and the new logo enters the ring, bam! Oh fuck, it's that guy. You know? Oh no. Oh, it's the Brooklyn Brawler. Fuck cares, man.
I was driving the other day. I was going to pick up some like dinner, and I remembered the moment where I was like writing Disney Plus, and I'm like, this is like a math equation. And then I was like equals, and I looked at Rob on the stream, and Rob goes Fandom, and I'm like Fandom,
yeah. Fandom, yeah, it was. It's like we see your fandom and raise you at Disney Plus Day. Boosh! Yeah. Shit, you win! You win the shit show.
But ours was Fandom because
Fandom.
I hold my turkey leg.
We knew what it was going to equate to. We knew how the math added up on the day already. But I was hoping I was wrong.
To get back to this whole like amazing Star Wars game. It is a damn shame that we're right back where we started with the Game of Thrones dudes, where you got an announcement over something you're excited about, but there's just problematic creators involved, you know, and you're just like, and that's going to be the conversation. And I want to know who like the thing with the David Cage stuff is they went to court. And I think through discovery proved it was true. Like all the shit that was said, the nonsense.
He's suing the journalists.
And then they he libeled the journalist for reporting.
Yeah.
It's libel suits. It's so ridiculous. And I'm just like, look, perhaps the best thing to do is to create a Lucas Arts, like invest in your own shit. Like you can't claim to be the best thing ever and then be like, well, we're just going to license everything out and hope for the best. I don't know, man. I guess the more, not that LucasArts made all the best games. By far, Lego Star Wars was a licensed game that was doing way better than what they were producing. But I mean, I'm just trying to see what's the alternative at this point. At least, I mean, man, dude, this is just frustrating. It's just frustrating because I got to be honest. In my art career, I've only had like 2 bosses that aren't problematic. Toys for Bob and a personal art director friend of mine. Everything else, I mean, working at game magazines was problematic. Working for comic book publishers was no one's nice. Everyone's an asshole, and the people who are making the stuff are the cool folks. It sounds like every job though, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like every job we've ever had? Like 90% of your jobs are fucking horrible and they're ran by monsters. And like I don't know what to do about that, but it's just a shame that like this is now the discourse, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious about the guy. Like were his comments taken out of context? Like was he like? I'm not trying to justify the things that dude said either, if that's just straight up what he said. But
Mediapart, he sued Mediapart and they won against him. Improving its good faith reporting practices. I'm reading an article. 2018, Le Monde, Mediapart, and Canard PC each published pieces alleging various abuses at Heavy Rain developer Quantic Dream. These included allegations of widespread sexual harassment, severe crunch, racist remarks by executives, including studio founder David Cage himself, and the existence of a bunch of really weird and uncomfortable photoshops of employees. That's wonderful. Quantic Dream responded to these allegations by stamping its feet and filing libel suits, claiming the allegations were totally baseless attacks. Mediapart won the suit against the developer by proving its good faith reporting practices. This means that the claims against Quantic Dreams reported by Mediapart and its reporting practices have now been verified in a court of law, which is a very bad look for a company trying to clear itself of allegations of wrongdoing. So
when I read that they actually made themselves look worse by showing all of these inconsistencies and stuff during that process. And but suing for libel, I don't know France. I have no idea what it's like over there. But like over here, it's nearly impossible. You almost can't. Like people could almost say and do anything they want about you in any way in a paper. It's really, really hard to but
let's say they go to Rockstar and Rockstar is going to make the next Star Wars game. I can tell you, Rockstar San Diego is a horrible place to work. Go talk to anyone that worked on LA Noire. What that experience was like, or Red Dead for them. They go, well, it changed since then.
Sure. Friends who worked there and it was just a bad time.
Yeah, like I was like, I don't want to deal with this. Like t-shirts were tough enough, but at least I could go home on time.
Yeah.
I got to live there too. I don't know, guys. It's a lot of effort. So, it's AAA development. This is why, and I got to give a lot of praise to Toys for Bob, to make a AAA game on a budget or under budget even, or on budget in a 2-year frame, 24-month frame, on time, and it's good, is unheard of. The gamers want 100 hours of content. They want the big open world, big choices. That is 4 to 6 years of development. That's $300 to $500 million of investment. When you stack up marketing, overtime crunch, whatever else that comes in, extra people you got to bring in to solve a third of the fucking game that had to be added in at the last second because the game was not long enough. Like this is why they go, we'll just make the multiplayer thing and just update it sporadically. Unfortunately, like it's very, very difficult. So. And there's no easy answers. There's no
I got it.
Studio that's a hero in this.
100 baby Yoda tokens hidden all over the game. Can you find them all?
Right. So I just think the answer to this obviously is you. I really wish they had just I don't know, man. Let Annie Heading make her game, just and let them give them the open world build the open world tool set. EA invest. I just feel like they're beyond investing at this point. Like
my hope, Rob, is that that screw up with Ragtag means this one doesn't get screwed up. This is the one where they're like, we cannot back out on it. We have no, you know what I mean? Like, because
and the Ubisoft situation, it's a shame. It's still Ubisoft, which is problem. It's no better. I mean, you can't tell me you're excited for another Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell game and then tell me that they're any better than David Cage or not. Like the Ubisoft is even nefarious. Like they will shut down Patreons for talking about their games. Like they're really vindictive.
Well, how about they just get the people who made World of Warcraft? They're cool.
If I had my way, it'd be Behemoth. You know, the guys that made Castle Crashers. You'd get a nice 2D, like fun Jedi power. Not power battle is a bad example. You know what I mean? But the man does his Race Space Rangers games. Like I think Star Wars, spend like. Unless they're going to build their own studio to do a big AAA game where they can then say, okay, from here on now, we're going to make a responsibly made AAA game. See you in 7 years. I don't. They aren't making GTA 6. I mean, you know how hard this is to make it, like to fill it up with stuff that you care about.
I could probably do it in a couple days.
I know. But some guy drops Sonic on Unreal Engine 4 and they go, see, that's all you got to do. And then they release the trailer. They go, looks like you just dropped him in Unreal 4. I thought that's what you wanted. Like, you just wanted motion blur and realistic grass.
What if we get Blizzard and we get Chris Chan out of jail Chris Chan comes over and he becomes the lead developer, lead writer. And then we get Kathy.
You know who'd be a good fit for Star Wars right now that would probably do it? Platinum. Like Platinum, the 100 Wonderful 101, style, like something different with Star Wars. Is that a radio
station?
Yes. A studio, and you go, but that's I want you. You just gonna have to wait for them to put more money into Jedi Fallen Order. You can't even get Bethesda to make a Skyrim game every 10 years. I'm waiting. They're just going to keep endlessly remastering this fucking thing, for at least another console generation before they put in a new one. Because it's tough. It's super, super hard. So, I don't know. I mean, are they releasing an expansion to the Old Republic game soon? And
it was meant to be out this month, but it's just been delayed to February.
So that's not bad. Okay. It's not. I mean, as far as delays go, but
I think smaller would be better in the interim and invest long term. But I don't get to make the calls, right? So, sadly, like we're all looking for Ubisoft to say they can get it done, right? So, could be fun. It could be that extreme biking game they wasted that potential on. That was a great idea. That just. It's a bummer.
It's like I'm a fan of Ghost Recon, and they've just, it's meant to be a squad-based tactical shooter, and the new one is a free-to-play battle royale. They're late to the party. It's not to mention they've taken what a franchise was known for and turned it into something else. They've just put a name on it, and now it's got NFTs in it. Like, it's so.
And they smell like feet, as it sure. Don't you know that? It's true.
Sorry?
Sync up the whole fucking room. they don't tell you about it. It's not good.
They set the trailer unlisted after like a few hours. Like, even though the YouTube dislike counter's gone, it got that many dislikes. They've already, tried to forget about it. And it's like the game's not even out. Like it's not even been. It's just.
I have an idea. I have an idea. What if they put that game in the hotel for the Star Wars cruise thing, a Star Cruiser, and you can play it, and you can buy NFTs and your battle royale squad-based sneaker shooter.
I'm still waiting for my Final Fantasy turn-based Star Wars game. Okay, I want it to look like it came from 2000, 2001. You know, I want turn-based.
You want everything to be
2D.
want
2D. What? I want the crazy hair. No, those are 3D games, bro. You know, like, all right. So it's not your open world, make every choice I get to live in Star Wars epic. But when you go down that path, you end up with Star Cruisers. So don't fucking start with me. Like, at least I know this shit's attainable. All right. I want it to look like Chrono Cross with lightsabers. That's what I've been waiting for, but I don't get that. So, whatever.
Star Wars Chantus. Welcome to the new world. 2D RPG made for Rob. I'm going over to Fiverr. I'm going to drop
all Twi'leks, all Twi'leks and J-pop, bro. It's my jam.
I would be okay with that aspect of it. You know,
sounds fun. Yeah,
but I am rooting for Star Wars Eclipse. I'm going to hope that this one beats the odds, that it happens, and it's an amazing thing. And when you hear things like I think we're going to see the discourse around it probably go into some funny ways, like the whole thing when you came on the show today and you mentioned that they were having problems with hiring. Well, what I saw when I saw that, it was all because he was problematic. And they were like, "Oh, nobody wants to work for that." But that's what the narrative that Twitter has created out of that. And apparently, that's kind of not really necessarily what the industry was saying, based off of the early rumors that we looked at today and discussed. And so I also think that as the game moves on, it's going to be super profitable for people to be up in arms about this guy. So I think the fan base is going to, or not, I should say the fan base, but people who run YouTube channels and Twitter accounts, it's going to become super profitable to try and tear the game down.
It's already been going both ways, because people have been voicing, their issues, and I have since it was even leaked. Like I've just mentioned, it's not something I'm happy about, but even just people saying that in the replies to say the official Star Wars account tweet, people are just responding back saying, "Oh, I like what he said," things like that, and it's just adding to it, and it's just bad. Like I've had a comment on my video today, saying the game looks woke, and it's like. And he says Kathleen Kennedy is the cause of this, and I'm like,
"Oh, I know why, because dragons are gay." No, I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But
he was complaining. He saw 3 women and 1 man, and there was something else. But yeah, I was like, banned. And this guy had been subscribed to my channel for 5 years. I'm like, okay, well, you're not anymore. Goodbye.
Yeah, it was like to know my uncle 30 years in. You're like, you think what? Oh no, no! My whole childhood's a lie.
He's like, come on. He's all, I'm an uncle.
Man, 3 women, 1 man.
Everybody has that racist uncle. Come on.
It's be a good time.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not.
That's weird. Yeah, and kind of a huge bummer when that kind of stuff happens, you know, when you're like, oh yeah, there's so and so, they always comment on my things, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I'm just saying, not all of Hitler's ideas were bad. And you're like, oh fuck. You know,
there were very fine people on both sides.
Yeah, it's like, no, come on, man.
I just like it when they tell me to keep Star Wars and the X-Men not political. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, all right.
What can you do?
Explain Krakoa again.
But I think we're gonna call this a show today. I think we kind of hit it all, and I'm glad that we finally got to have you on and to talk about video games. They're finally being sent, like, because I remember a while ago I'm like, hey, come on anytime, man, come on right now, and you're like, well, when something video games happens, that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it's like 3 months goes by or something. but it's happening. And yeah, whenever video game stuff happens, dude, I'd always love to have you on, because you know stuff, and I am just a dummy who likes to play them when they finally come out. and try
when that Lego Skywalker saga comes out, that's the day, my friend. Like,
that's what I'm going to be like. I'm going to be like, you know what? This doesn't take Star Wars seriously. What is this crap?
I've had people. So there was this. I don't know if it was one person or multiple people, but there was a lot of Twitter accounts going after one of the accounts I run. Glad it's going to rewrite canon. It's going to rewrite the sequel trilogy. They're going to make it right. Because I responded saying, no, it's not.
Lego will save us.
Lego will save us all.
These accounts were saying, yeah, they made the prequels better, so it's going to rewrite the bad sequels. This is my canon, and he was like going on with multiple accounts for days. Just I wasn't even responding. I wasn't even blocking. I was just completely ignoring. And this guy was clearly got something wrong with him, and he was like, yes, right. He was like replying to himself on like in multiple accounts, whatever. He was just adamant they're going to rewrite canon, and that is what's going to happen. And so
no, that's like the one thing that I've kind of like picked up on and learned through a lot of bad experiences is only respond to the comments that you want to get. Because if you respond to the comments that you don't want to get, then people go, oh, that's what he responds to, and then they can, it exponentially happens at that point. And but every now and then you get one and the person is just a little nuts. And even though you're not responding, they're still having that conversation with you in their head, and it's not ending anytime soon. And that's when you got to be like, mute. Bye.
Okay, Star Wars in game. Thank you for liking my hat. And,
I put it up on the thing earlier and wasn't sure if you saw, but yeah.
No, that from the Target special exclusive box where it came with the snow trooper, first order trooper, and the beanie here, and like a comic book.
All right, I almost made a Target joke, and now I want to hurt myself. I shouldn't. I don't know why my brain did that. That's just so
1996 says hello.
My brain is fuck, man. No.
Let's go get some froyo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I had Obi-Wan going, we're better than this. You know, I had that moment in my
cool
head
beans.
right
New Tamagotchis just arrived too, bro. Like,
yeah, my brain just fell for ray shields.
They're back though.
But,
dude, there's some exclusive Beanie Babies coming next week, so get ready.
Hey, man. Gotta show.
Tickle Me Filoni ship in a month. Can't wait.
Got a stupid hat. You tickle him. Yeah. Well, anyways, if any news breaks, I'll jump back on and do a stream.
Hard Drive Mag just tweeted out ad blocker makes the Game Awards 7 minutes long.
Oh shit.
Love Hard Drive Mag. They're the greatest.
But if anything happens, I'll jump back on. And thanks to everyone who's a supporter on Patreon and Star Wars, the YouTube channel member. I appreciate the support. And we will see you guys. Otherwise, if nothing happens, we'll see you guys on Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I may do a UFO show this weekend. I'm not sure. I'm not.
Except for that trailer that's going to drop in 2 hours, right when I'm cooking dinner.
Right.
And I have to show back up for this show.
Late Friday casting news.
Yeah.
Look, they'll drop Skywalker Saga 2 hours from now. Then we all have to come back, right? Adventure's going to be sleeping. Now you got to come back. You're obligated now. No choice. Right from bed.
Really mad if you're not.
What time is it? Is it where you are right now?
It's 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Okay.
So I went to sleep
as a truth.
The trailer dropped last night.
Okay. Yeah. God, time zones. Can't we just fix the sun? Break it into two.
Believe me, they will fix the sun before they solve climate change. I assure you that. Don't worry, Jason.
What we've done is we're just breaking the sun into two.
We'll live on the sun, baby.
Yeah, we'll split it into two. Like we'll be a binary. All the Star Wars fans are on board.
We're on a binary star system.
We were originally in a binary system. You know?
You're gonna set Jesse off when we get into the non-binary stuff.
Yeah,
no.
Anyway,
is it Laffy or is it Taffy? I don't fucking know. You know,
I'm gonna end this show right now. I'm ending the show. Bye, show.
It's not about spaceships.
It's not about spaceships.
All right, we did it. All right, as it's true, if you could still hear me,
yeah, I
dude,
can.